Mom bought a bunch of energy stones for my younger sister who is in senior 3. She said that wearing the stone can increase intelligence quotient and it's easy to become the provincial champion. Only I can see at a glance that those stones all contain radioactive substances. Long-term wearing will not increase intelligence quotient. Instead, it will endanger life. Sure enough, it wasn't long before my younger sister had symptoms such as nosebleed and low fever. I decisively took my younger sister to the hospital and only then saved her life. Later, my younger sister failed in the college entrance examination. She worked in a factory during the summer vacation and had a child with her yellow-haired boyfriend. In the end, she could only drop out of school and get married. My mom blamed all this on me and beat me to death with a stone. If it weren't for you, your younger sister would have brought honor to the ancestors long ago. You damn girl made me be laughed at by relatives. Go to hell. My younger sister watched coldly with her flat stomach. I should have gone to Tsinghua University. It's you who ruined my future. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the day when my younger sister was yelling about having a headache. Mom, can I ask for a day off from school today? My head is really dizzy. What dizziness? I think you just want to be lazy and not go to school. Come over and eat breakfast. They are all your favorites. Look at this corn juice. Your mom got up at 5 o'clock and peeled the corn one by one. Isn't it all for you? As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw my younger sister Jessie supporting her forehead and walking out of the room. Her face was full of discomfort. Hearing what her own mother said, Jessie bit her lip and murmured, "But I really feel very uncomfortable. I can't muster up energy. And I had a nosebleed again last night. If you don't believe me, come into my room and take a look." Before Jessie finished speaking, my mom gave her a blank look. She rushed into the room behind her and rummaged for a while. When she came out, there was a necklace in her hand. The chain was woven by my mom with a red string. In the center was a round stone the size of a quail egg. It was the energy stone that my mom brought back for Jessie at a high price when she traveled to Xinjiang. It is said that it can increase intelligence quotient and strengthen the body. Wearing this thing, it is no problem to get into Tsinghua University or Peking University. In my previous life, I could see at a glance that it was not an energy stone at all, but a bunch of stones with radioactive substances. Long-term wearing will not increase intelligence quotient. Whether one can keep one's life is a problem. I kindly advised my mom, "Mom, this thing has radiation. It not only harms others but also harms oneself. Let's hand it over to professionals to dispose of it. Besides, Jessie has always been top-notch in grades. There is no problem in taking the college entrance examination." My mom not only didn't listen to my advice but scolded me severely. "Do you think Jessie is as useless as you? You got into a university in a remote mountainous area. No one has even heard of it. You have completely shamed me. I tell you that your younger sister is aiming for Tsinghua University and Peking University. Don't get in my way here." As a result, within a few days, Jessie began to have nosebleed, headaches, and low fevers for no reason. My mom turned a blind eye to Jessie's pain and only regarded it as an excuse for her not wanting to go to school. In the end, I took Jessie to the hospital. After my detailed description, the doctor reported the situation to the relevant departments. Those stones were quickly taken away for testing. Jessie's examination results also came out quickly. Various organs in her body had been damaged to different degrees. Fortunately, Jessie hadn't worn it for a long time. As long as she was hospitalized for treatment, she could be cured soon. Later, Jessie saved her life. But she performed abnormally in the college entrance examination, and finally could only go to an ordinary junior college. My mom has always boasted that she is an excellent parenting expert, and has a self-created parenting book. From childhood to adulthood, I must ensure that I get 100 points in every subject. Otherwise, what awaits me is a severe beating. Later, when filling out the college entrance examination application, I deliberately filled in an ordinary 211 university thousands of miles away from home. thinking of getting rid of my mom's control. I only come back for a few days during winter and summer vacations. My mom claims that I am a failure in raising, so she turned her attention to Jessie. Jessie is different from me. She has been particularly obedient to my mom since childhood. It's just a pity that my mom didn't expect that Jessie's rebelliousness completely exceeded her imagination. 2. After failing the college entrance examination, my mom threatened Jessie with death to go to repeat the grade. But Jessie was determined and not to go. The mother and daughter had a fierce argument at home. In the end, it was my dad who mediated the conflict. Don't think that my dad is an enlightened and good parent. As far as I know him, he just thinks that my mom and Jessie have disturbed his peace. My mom was emotionally agitated and accused the man who made her raise children alone with tears in her eyes. What right do you have to say such things? Have you ever taken care of the 2 children? My dad blushed with embarrassment and said angrily, "Enough. Jessie is grown up. Her life should be decided by herself. The family is in chaos all day long. Do you still want to live this life? If you don't want to live, we will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. Anyway, the children are grown up." My dad made the final decision and my mom was also silenced. My mom is a control freak and my dad is a refined egoist. Later, Jessie decided to work in a factory to earn tuition fees for herself. With the encouragement of my dad, she successfully entered the factory. 2 days before the start of school, when Jessie came back from the factory, there was a yellow-haired guy beside her. As soon as the yellow-haired guy opened his mouth, he said, "Dad, Mom, Jessie is pregnant. I am here today to propose to you. I hope you can help us fulfill me and Jessie." This shocking news made my mom faint directly. After waking up, my mom picked up the water cup next to the table and threw it at the yellow-haired guy. Jessie pushed the yellow-haired guy away. The water cup hit her head hard and blood was seen immediately. She protected the yellow-haired guy behind her like protecting a chick. With red eyes, she asked, "Ching and I truly love each other. If you want to hit someone, hit me." My mom almost gritted her back molars. After a lot of trouble, Jessie still got married to the yellow-haired guy smoothly. The yellow-haired guy's family just got out of poverty and said directly that they could marry a wife but had no money. My mom had to pay for the house and give money. In the end, she became the laughingstock of relatives and friends after dinner. After all, which parenting expert can educate such a child? Sophia and her husband are really laughing so hard. What kind of crappy parenting expert? A young girl got pregnant before getting married. Isn't it because the parents didn't discipline her well? Yes. Usually. My mom holds her head high when buying vegetables and looks down on everyone. Now when passing through that alley, she wishes she could find a hole to crawl into. I also privately advised Jessie to think it over. But instead of being grateful, she sneered at me. "Sister, you can't break us up just because you can't meet true love." I was speechless by her retort. Unfortunately, that yellow-haired guy is not a peaceful person. When Jessie was 6 months pregnant, he brought another woman home to fool around and was caught red-handed by Jessie. In the chaos, in order to protect that woman, the yellow-haired guy pushed Jessie to the ground. When Jessie fell, her stomach hit the corner of the table and immediately there was non-stop bleeding. By the time she was sent to the hospital, the child had already died in the womb and could only be induced labor. Moreover, because Jessie had been exposed to radioactive substances before, her body was no longer suitable for pregnancy. Helplessly, the doctor had to remove Jessie's uterus. The yellow-haired guy immediately proposed a divorce. Is she still a woman without a uterus? She caused the loss of my son. If I don't hold you accountable, you should consider yourself lucky. As compensation, that house must be given to me. Things had come to such a point. My dad couldn't bear the ridicule of neighbors and moved out of the house. My mom and Jessie completely went crazy. They put all the responsibility on me. They thought that if it weren't for me taking Jessie to the hospital, maybe she would have been admitted to Tsinghua University, or Peking University. So they tricked me back home and beat me to death with stones. Who asked you to meddle? If I could start over, I wouldn't want you to save me. I could definitely be admitted to a famous university and marry a rich second generation. This time, I really want to see if without my meddling, whether Jesse will survive until then. 3. Look at you. As an adult, you still don't know how to change your habit of being forgetful. This is a spiritual stone that I painstakingly begged for you. Wearing it will ensure that all your ailments will be cured. You must be competitive. I can't count on some people. Mom depends on you for the rest of her life. My mom chattered on and hung the energy stone back on Jesse's neck. After doing all this, she was still not satisfied. She turned and went back to Jesse's room. She took down 2 more strings of energy stones from the wall. 1 string was worn on Jesse's right hand and 1 string on the left hand. Only when the 3 strings of energy stones were firmly worn on Jesse did my mom feel completely relieved. Come and have breakfast. After eating, go to school quickly. There are only 2 months left before the college entrance examination. Now is a race against time. You can't fall behind. Looking at this scene, I couldn't help but secretly laugh. This is for fear that Jesse won't die fast enough. But I don't know if it's because of my mom's psychological therapy that worked. In a short while, Jesse's face looked much better and she became energetic. My mom held her nose high and was extremely proud. I've said it. This is a spiritual stone that can cure all diseases. Ordinary people can't get it even if they want it. My mom implied something and gave me a hard look. Seeing this, Jesse took the opportunity to give me a blank look, and then showed a flattering smile to my mom. Mom, I know you are the best to me. My mom brought back a total of 4 energy stones from Xinjiang at the beginning and spent a full 50,000 yuan. One of them was made into a necklace for Jessie and worn close to her body every day. 2 more were hung in Jessie's room. My mom said that this way Jessie could better absorb the energy of the spiritual stone and soar on the day of the college entrance examination. The last one was placed by my mom on the bedside table in her own room and worshiped day and night. Once I heard my mom mysteriously say to my dad, I asked, this spiritual stone can not only increase intelligence quotient and strengthen the body but also allow us to have another child. Haven't you always wanted a son? Sophia, is what you said true? As soon as he heard this, my dad immediately became excited and no longer complained about my mom's wasteful spending. Not being able to leave a descendant for the Charles family is the most regretful and self-blaming thing in my dad's life. Even though Jessie and I have been at the top of our class in academic performance since childhood, my mom still can't hold her head high when she returns to her hometown during festivals. Just because our gender is female. In their world, it seems that women are naturally a little inferior to men. But why? Who says women are inferior to men? But my mom and Jessie are both women but don't understand this truth. My mom has brainwashed herself all her life. Then she turned around and tried to brainwash me and Jessie. In the end, they still didn't wake up. Instead, they pointed the butcher's knife at me. In my previous life, I had explained to them that a large dose of radiation in a short period of time will cause acute radiation sickness. And its biggest long-term health risk is cancer. Cell cancer radiation, severe damage to internal organs and tissues, and skin ulcers. In the end, the whole person is worse than death. None of them listened and still felt that I had ruined their perfect life. Coming back to my senses, Jessie blinked at me. Sister, there are only 4 energy stones in total. There really isn't enough to share at home. Won't you be jealous? Looking at her showing off expression, I sincerely showed a smile. How could I be jealous? This great blessing belongs to you and Mom and Dad. How dare I covet it? Cancer, leukemia, genetic mutation, body ulcers. Just wait. What I have to do now is to stay away from this family as soon as possible so as not to be affected by them again. As for Jessie and my parents, I can only say that I wish them to get what they want. For after that day, I moved out of the house on the grounds of going to work. Originally, I came back this time to pack up my personal belongings. When the entry procedures over there are almost completed, I will leave. So when my mom saw me, she didn't say much. She just told me to remember to send money back. I have worked so hard to raise you so big. Now that you can earn money on your own, it's time to repay your parents. I don't want much from you. Just send 5,000 yuan back every month. I am a fresh graduate. It's good enough if I don't become unemployed right after graduation. Where does she get the confidence to think that I can hand over 5,000 yuan to my family every month? But at this juncture, I am not interested in arguing with her to avoid complications. I can only answer sullenly. Seeing me agree readily. My mom was in a great mood. Then I don't know where she took out a maintenance agreement. It seems that it was prepared long ago. One by one unequal treaties came into my view. In addition to asking me to hand over 5,000 yuan of living expenses to them every month, it also requires that I must receive 300,000 yuan of betrothal gifts when I get married and transfer all of it to their card. Snowy. This is an agreement that your dad and I have prepared long ago. You just need to sign on it. Your dad and I have raised you for so many years. It's not easy. These are what you should do. I was stunned looking at that agreement. Seeing that I had no intention of signing for a long time, my mom smirked. Don't worry. Mom and Dad have always treated you and Jessie equally. When Jessie graduates from college, she will naturally have to sign this agreement. I didn't expect that my mom could still do this to me. In my previous life, when Jessie had an accident, and the family was in chaos, my mom never had a chance to take out this so-called maintenance agreement. Today really opened my eyes. I curled my lips, took the pen she handed over, and was about to sign. At the moment of writing, I casually mentioned, Mom. In fact, I have always didn't know how to tell you. But since you mentioned it first today, I will no longer be embarrassed. Mainly because I just graduated. The student loan hasn't been paid off yet. Going to work in the company requires renting a house and buying furniture. Otherwise, could you transfer 20,000 yuan to me first? I will pay you back when I get paid. At the beginning, my mom didn't agree with me going to that university and stiffened her neck and refused to pay my tuition fees. In the end, I applied for student loans by myself. I relied on part-time jobs for living expenses so that I could successfully finish college. As soon as she heard that not only did she not get the money, but also had to pay out of her own pocket, my mom refused. She shouted in a shrill voice, Money? What money? I don't have any money. I clicked my tongue softly and showed a hurt expression. Mom, I am very happy to give you 5,000 yuan every month. After all, you are my own mom. But now I really have difficulties. It's a bit unreasonable if you don't help me. I still remember that you spent 40,000 yuan at once to buy spiritual stones for my younger sister. Why is there no money when it comes to me? I think it's a bit unfair. Didn't you say it? Spending money on children is an investment. Now you only need to finance me 20,000 yuan. When I get paid, I will pay you back and give you 5,000 on every month. What are you worried about? I said a lot in a rush, which made my mom dizzy. Isn't it just PUA? As if no one else can do it. My mom thought about it, and felt that what I said seemed reasonable. After all, I am a long-term blood bag. You can't catch a wolf without sacrificing a child. She immediately transferred 20,000 yuan to me. As soon as the money arrived in the account, under my mom's eager gaze, I also immediately signed my name. It doesn't matter. Anyway, this kind of thing has no legal effect. Besides, it's still unknown whether my mom can live until that time. In just 2 days while I was packing my luggage, Jessie's symptoms became a lot worse. The trash can in her room was always filled with bloody toilet paper. And there were clumps of hair on the floor. Before leaving, I kindly reminded my mom, Mom, if you have time, take Jessie to the hospital to have a look. At such a critical time, it won't be good if something goes wrong with Jessie's body. Hearing me speak for her, Jessie cast a grateful look at me. But my mom didn't even raise her head in the kitchen. Oh, don't worry so much about your younger sister's affairs. Take care of yourself. She is in good health. I think she just wants to be lazy. I shrugged helplessly and motioned to Jessie that I couldn't do anything either. Jessie sighed and watched me walk out the door with my suitcase. When I got on the train to another place, I finally let out a long breath. My good younger sister. I did speak for you. The debtor has a debtor. When you are lying on the sickbed and feeling worse than death, you must remember that it's our mom who didn't take you to the hospital. 5. I took the 20,000 yuan given by my mom and rented a single apartment near the company. I no longer have to live in a shared house with a group of men and women on the urban-rural fringe like in my previous life. Every day, I am exhausted from going to work and have to commute for 4 hours. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy my good days for a few days when Jessie's call came. In the call, her voice was extremely weak. She spoke trembling lie. Sister, I really feel that I am sick recently, but mom just doesn't believe me. Today I even fainted in class. The teacher asked mom to pick me up and take me to see a doctor. She actually said that I fainted because I didn't sleep at night and dozed off in class. I have nosebleed almost every day now. And my hair is falling out more and more. I'm almost going bald. Could it be that I really have some serious illness? I put my phone aside and turned on the speakerphone to listen to Jessie's crying. It can't be. Are you just tired? Jessie was anxious and hurriedly said, I know my own body best. In the past, I could climb 5 floors in one breath. Now I am out of breath even after taking the steps on flat ground. Do you think this is normal? Dad is always out and nowhere to be seen. Mom doesn't believe me at all. I'm really going to collapse. Judging from her description and combined with the doctor's diagnosis in my previous life, those stones have already caused irreversible damage to Jessie's body. If Jessie continues to wear them, it is estimated that she will be close to starting over. I comforted her perfunctorily on the phone for 2 sentences, mainly providing emotional support and not giving any advice. In the end, Jessie became impatient. Are you still my own sister? After saying so much, can't you lend me some money to see a doctor? She couldn't pretend anymore and showed her arrogant attitude of bossing me around on weekdays. Seeing this, I lowered my voice and pretended to sob twice. Then I told her about my mom asking me to sign the maintenance agreement. I still owe mom 20,000 yuan. After getting off work every day, I still have to deliver takeout. Do you know how hard I live alone outside? You know mom's temper. If I don't pay her back, she will definitely come to me. Hearing me say this, Jessie was also speechless about my mom, especially after hearing that she would also have to sign such an overbearing clause in the future. Anger injected a bit of vitality into her weak body. Mom is really a bit too much. How can she be like this? I took the opportunity to choke up and said, Jessie, it's not that I, as your elder sister, don't want to help you. It's really that I can't even take care of myself. Well, I still have 230 yuan. Should I transfer it to you? Jessie's tone couldn't tell her emotions. No need. 6. For a period of time later, Jessie couldn't contact me again. Calculating the days, it should be that my mom was afraid of affecting her college entrance examination and confiscated her mobile phone. I could only learn about the movements of our family through my mom's moments and family group. After all, my mom loves to show off. Whenever there is something, she loves to post it in the family group and moments. This time, Jessie got the 5th place in the whole school in the pre-exam mock exam. My mom posted a video of Jessie holding the report card on moments. Caption, Oh, I have told this girl many times to be calm in the exam room. Look. She was careless and got 2 multiple choice questions wrong again. What should we do on the real college entrance examination day? So worrying. Posting it on Moments once was not enough. She posted it again in the family group. Uncles and aunts, and all the relatives in the group came out to compliment my mom. They were nothing more than praising my mom for being good at educating daughters and Jessie being beautiful and having good grades. My mom was very pleased and posted, "It's not that I educate well. A dragon begets a dragon. A phoenix begets a phoenix. And the son of a mouse and egg holes. It's all a matter of genes." A relative with a sweet mouth continued to post, "That's right. Snowy got into a 211 university. In my opinion, your Jessie is even stronger than her elder sister. She must be able to get into a 985 university. Then our whole family will benefit." Unexpectedly, my mom interrupted her unceremoniously. "What 985? Our Jessie is going to Tingshui University or Peking University. Poo poo poo. Don't curse our Jessie." As soon as these words came out, the group was silent. My mom didn't know that she had offended people and continued to talk about her parenting book in the group. Only I watched Jessie's video for a long time. In the video, Jessie is sitting in front of the desk wearing a white dress. Her cheeks are thin, and her face is pale. Even her lips have no trace of blood. Looking closely, there are faintly one patch after another of red marks on her exposed forearm. My mom put the report card in her hand and motioned for her to stand up and face the camera. Jessie stood up supporting herself, already tottering. My mom turned a blind eye and impatiently pushed her. Then she turned her head and said something with her back to the camera. Without thinking, "It must not be anything good." Looking again, Jessie reluctantly squeezed out a smile. At this time, relatives in the group also noticed the strangeness of Jessie in the video and said, "Sophia, it's not that I'm blaming you. No matter how much you focus on studying, you should also pay attention to the child's body. Look at how thin Jessie has become." Third brother. Now that you mention it, it's really true. I saw Jessie not like this 2 months ago. Look at that child's complexion. Could there be something wrong? Health is the foundation of everything. Although our son is not very promising and only got into an ordinary undergraduate program, at least he is physically and mentally healthy. Unlike some people who forced their elder daughter to run away and not come back. Now they are forcing their younger daughter to take the college entrance examination. It's simply crazy. My mom has never been easy to mess with. She immediately started yelling in the group. "You are all jealous of our Jessie. If your child is useless, you come and curse others. If you have the guts, educate to college students from key universities too. I don't know if Jessie can be admitted to Tingshui University or Peking University in this life. But there is one thing I can be sure of. She must be close to death." 7. As I expected. This day came soon. I was at work that day when my mom called me. In the call, she was speaking incoherently, sometimes anxious and sometimes angry. It took me a long time to piece together useful information from her words. Probably, during this period of time, Jessie has been constantly complaining about feeling unwell and having nosebleed and so on. But as always, my mom didn't take it seriously. Not only did she not take Jessie for an examination, but as the college entrance examination was getting closer, she even deprived her of all her rest time. Jessie goes to school at 5 in the morning every day and finishes evening self-study at 9:30 in the evening. After coming home from evening self-study, she still has to complete various exercise books that my mom found for her online. By the time she finishes washing up and goes to bed, it is already early morning. After being exposed to radioactive substances for a long time and being overly tired, Jessie's body finally couldn't hold on and collapsed during class today. According to Jessie's teacher's description later, it was during an English class. Jessie suddenly covered her nose and raised her hand to indicate that she wanted to go to the restroom. Before the teacher could ask, her nosebleed gushed out. Jessie quickly covered it with her hand, but the nosebleed was like a turned-on faucet and kept dripping. Spots of blood also spilled on the white test paper. Before everyone could react, more blood gushed out of Jessie's throat. It directly sprayed the girl in the front seat all over her head and face. The classroom instantly rang out with screams one after another. In less than 2 minutes, Jessie fainted. In the end, The teacher and several brave male classmates sent Jessie, who was covered in blood, to the hospital together. But I didn't expect that even so. My mom's focus was still not on her own daughter's body. After calming down, she started to complain. This damn girl didn't get sick early or late. She just had to cause trouble for me at this critical moment. I think she is deliberately going against me. I pretended to be worried and asked, "What did the doctor say? What's wrong with Jessie exactly? Isn't it just a nosebleed? I think it's just getting too much heat. Can't we just stop the bleeding and prescribe some medicine to clear the heat?" I've already said that Jessie is a senior 3 student and the college entrance examination is coming soon. That doctor actually asked Jessie to be hospitalized for examination. Isn't this just trying to cheat money? Jessie has just been sent to the hospital. The doctor only gave her simple measures to stop the bleeding. Presumably, all the examination results haven't come out yet. She is usually in good health, and basically never goes to the hospital. So my mom still thinks that Jessie just has an ordinary illness. No matter how serious it is. It can't be that serious. The doctor said that she needs to be hospitalized for at least a week. Only when all the examination results come out, and she is fine, can Jessie go back to school. Your dad and I have discussed it. You ask for 2 weeks off from your unit, and come back to take care of your younger sister. By the way, you can also give her tutoring. You mustn't fall behind in your studies. Only then did I suddenly understand. After all this talk. This is the key point. My mom continued. I don't know what's wrong with me recently. I always feel nauseous and dizzy. I really don't have the strength to take care of Jessie. As an elder sister, you should also take on your responsibilities. My mom has probably been exposed to radiation for a long time and her mind is not very clear. At this juncture, how could I go back? Could it be that I will be tricked back and take the blame again like in my previous life? Snowy, will never fall in the same place twice. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of the chance God gave me to start over? So I immediately rejected my mom. Mom, I'm still in my internship period. You also know that the employment environment is not very good now. If I ask for leave, the boss will definitely fire me. Then where will I get the money to pay you living expenses? My mom thought about it and felt that what I said made sense. My current job is stable and high paying. As long as I have this job, she can find ways to continuously get money from me. Useless thing. At critical moments, you are just as unreliable as your dad. What bad luck did I, Sophia, have in my previous life to marry your dad and give birth to you to debt collectors? After saying that, she hung up the phone. I don't care. Scold if you want. Anyway, it won't cost me a piece of flesh. Anyway, my mom and the 3 of them won't be able to jump around for long. Jessie is just the beginning. Sure enough, on the 3rd day, my mom called again. Different from the last call. This time she was crying hysterically on the phone. I was really afraid that she would pass out on the spot. Woo woo woo, Snowy. The doctor said that your younger sister is very likely to have leukemia. Now all the organs in her body are abnormal. They also said that she was exposed to some kind of radiation source, and needs to have a more detailed examination which costs several thousand yuan. What is a radiation source? How could we possibly be exposed to such a thing? Do you think we have encountered a quack doctor? My mom's voice is extremely thin. Usually when she speaks, it reveals acrimony. Now when she cries, the sound is like nails scraping on a blackboard. In the background, the doctor hurriedly explained, family member, our hospital has made it very clear. Your daughter's symptoms are very likely caused by short-term exposure to radioactive substances. When the examination results come out, we can also prescribe the right medicine. And for you family members, I suggest you also go for a test. But my mom didn't listen at all. What? I have to do it too. I think you are just trying to blackmail people. Don't think I don't know. You doctors like to make problems seem serious and scare us. I tell you, we are not so easy to deceive. My elder daughter is also a top student. Our family is not one that can be bullied casually. Facing my mom's aggressiveness, the doctor was simply unable to defend himself. The two of them went back and forth, exchanging verbal barbs. It gave me a headache. Until finally, there was a sound of a heavy object falling. The mobile phone then also fell to the ground. Then came my dad's exclamation, "Wife? What's wrong with you? Wife? Don't scare me. Come on. People." The doctor hit someone. My wife was knocked unconscious by this doctor. The opposite side instantly became a mess. There were screams, cries, and wails. "You wait for me. If anything happens to my wife, I will never let you go." Before the call was hung up, this was the last sound I heard. 9 Because I was really curious about the situation on my mom's side but also worried about my personal safety. So I specifically found a delivery guy and transferred 1,000 yuan to him, and asked him to go to the hospital and live stream it for me. The delivery guy was very dedicated. After listening to my story, he carried his mobile phone and went to the scene without saying a word. Jessie was still unconscious on the hospital bed at this time, with various tubes and instruments inserted all over her body. The delivery guy couldn't go in conveniently and only took a quick shot at the door for me. Of course, my focus is not here. Under my instruction, the delivery guy asked about my mom's current situation. The incident just now was quite a big one, and many onlookers were still discussing it. The delivery guy didn't take much effort to find out that my mom was hospitalized in the obstetrics and gynecology department on the 8th floor. My heart skipped a beat. Obstetrics and gynecology department? Could it be that my mom is really pregnant in this life? Outside my mom's ward, my dad was sitting by the bed, looking at my mom affectionately. "Sophia, I am so touched. I really didn't expect that Charles, could still have a child at this age. What you brought back is indeed a spiritual stone. From today on, you are a great contributor to our Charles family." After such a commotion, my mom's face showed a little fatigue, but still couldn't hide the strong sense of happiness. The two held hands, and looked at each other with tears in their eyes, completely forgetting that they still had a daughter on the sickbed whose life and death were uncertain. During this time, you just stay in the hospital and take good care of the fetus. Don't go to Jessie's place. It's unlucky. I will find a way to let Snowy come back and take care of her. But what about Jessie's college entrance examination? College entrance examination? In her condition, how can she take the college entrance examination? Anyway, we are going to have a son soon. We should cultivate our son. In the end, no matter how much a girl reads, she will still benefit others. My dad tucked in the quilt corner for my mom, and then got up and took out his mobile phone. The next second, my ringtone rang. My dad got straight to the point, his tone very proud. "Snowy, I'll tell you a good news. Your mom is pregnant and is in the hospital now." I pretended to be surprised. Really? My dad was grinning from ear to ear. He sighed that he was still as good as ever. At his age in his 50s, he could still try for a son. "The doctor said that your mom can't work hard now that she is pregnant. You come back immediately and take care of your younger sister. We are all flesh and blood relatives. You won't be unwilling to do such a little thing, will you?" My dad didn't come to discuss with me but to inform me. I didn't confront him head on either. I said with difficulty that I still had work here that needed to be handed over and dealt with. In a few days, when things were settled, I would naturally go back. Only then was my dad satisfied and hung up the phone. On the second day after fainting, Jessie finally woke up. Most of her examination results also came out. All the indicators of her body were abnormal. There was a shadow in her lungs. It was very likely to be lung cancer and further examination was needed. The blood test results were also not good, showing acute leukemia. In the 2 days in the hospital, Jessie's ulceration became more and more serious. The doctor performed debridement on her. If the infection continued, amputation would be the only option next. Most importantly, the doctor reported this matter to the relevant departments. After the intervention of professionals, they quickly found my parents and Jessie for questioning. Then they went to our house to check the situation. Eventually, the professionals found 3 energy stones on Jessie's desk and the one enshrined in my parents' room. After testing, the nuclear radiation of the stones seriously exceeded the standard, reaching 105 microsieverts per hour, which was 1050 times higher than the background value on site. The instrument analysis result by experts showed that it was the radioactive substance thorium-230 Tau. This substance is listed in the Category 1 carcinogen list of the International Agency for Research on Cancer of the World Health Organization. The radioactive particles and energy continuously released by them cause great harm to the human body, including cancer, genetic mutation, genetic diseases, etc. All these symptoms are reflected on the 3 members of their family. Only at this time did my mom understand what she had done. Unfortunately, it was too late. When Jessie learned that she had multiple cancers and her own mother was pregnant again, she went crazy. Jessie smashed everything around her that could be smashed. Are you still my own mother? You are the one who made me like this. I told you many times that I didn't feel well. You forced me to go to school. You thought I was being lazy and lying. If it weren't for your broken stone, could I be like this? Now I can't live anymore. And you are pregnant again. How can you be so cruel? You still want a son. Give birth. You are exposed to radiation every day. You don't even know what kind of freak is in your womb. When my dad heard that Jessie dared to curse his unborn son, the last bit of pity in his eyes disappeared. He rushed up and directly slapped Jessie twice. Jessie's body is now like a glass doll. Any pressure from the outside can shatter her. Sure enough, after 2 slaps, Jessie started to have a nosebleed again. The blood immediately soaked the entire bed sheet. The delivery guy secretly complained, "Big sister, it's not that I'm saying. Your parents are really inhumane. After all, it's their own daughter. In such a state. They didn't shed a single tear. It's so cruel. I finally understand why you didn't come back in person." I smiled. This is a lesson I learned with my death. Unforgettable. In my previous life, they aimed their conflicts at me. This time, it's their turn to fight among themselves. Soon a doctor found my parents and asked them to also have a detailed physical examination. My dad had damage to his liver and kidney functions. But for him, this was not a big deal. The most fatal thing was that the doctor announced that due to radiation exposure, his fertility was basically 0. That is to say, a child in my mom's womb became his only chance to have a son in this life. As for my mom, there were also a lot of problems. Because the fetus in her womb was still too young in gestational weeks, it was impossible to check whether there was a problem. But no one can guarantee what a fetus that has been exposed to such intense radiation will look like when it is born. Just after receiving the news of having a son, and then being told that this child cannot be kept, her husband also lost his fertility. My mom couldn't bear this blow and fainted with her eyes rolled back. My dad was so angry that he immediately jumped up and wanted to hit the doctor. What kind of quack doctor? If anything happens to my son, I will beat you to death. My dad may not know that after the medical dispute a few days ago, he is now the focus of attention of the hospital security guards. As soon as his hand touched the doctor's clothes, he was carried out by several strong security guards with steel forks. Soon, my mom called me to complain. What kind of quack doctors are there in the hospital now? They actually said that my son may be deformed. How is that possible? Your dad and I have good genes. Otherwise, how could we have given birth to you and your younger sister? 2 such intelligent children. Although my mom said so, I knew that she must be a little uncertain in her heart. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called me and said these words. I thought for a while and comforted her. Mom, it is said that there is a connection between a mother and her child. As the biological mother, don't you know how your younger brother is in your womb? You finally got pregnant with your younger brother. This is a great blessing. Those relatives in our hometown can't even envy it. You must make up your own mind. Also, in the past, your dad relied on his good health and being young. He always wanted to have a son outside. Now his only hope is in your womb. Can he not be good to you? Thinking of my dad's attitude towards her at ordinary crimes, and the faces of those relatives in her hometown, my mom had her own considerations. On the same day, she announced that she must give birth to this child. No one has the right to deprive her of her right to be a mother. 11. Jessie's illness developed rapidly. The ulceration on both arms became deeper and deeper. There were several bloody big holes, which were shocking. Looking closely, from time to time, several plump little white worms crawled out of the big holes with flesh and blood turned inside out. The doctor has debrided her countless times these days. But the effect is still not obvious. The rotten flesh grows over and over again, and is scraped off by the doctor again and again. Jessie was so thin that only a handful of bones were left, and she could no longer bear the slightest harm. The doctor found my parents to discuss. If she wants to save her life, it is best to have an amputation operation. Otherwise, Jessie will die from infection at any time. My parents calculated and almost didn't hesitate at all. Go home and don't treat it anymore. Their original words were like this. It's not that we don't want to save her, but this is really a bottomless pit. Now that her mom is pregnant again, anyway, it can't be cured. It's better to save this money for her younger brother. Yes. Looking at her now a mud inhuman and ghostly state. Living is also suffering. It's better to die early and it can be considered a relief. The next day, Jessie was pulled back home by them. I heard that Jessie was wailing day and night in pain. The neighbors couldn't bear it, and all criticized my parents. How can there be such parents in the world who watch their own child die? The persona that my mom had established outside had completely collapsed. But now she doesn't care about this at all. Pregnant with a son, her treatment has been improved by many levels. My dad no longer runs around outside and wholeheartedly guards my mom. The delivery guy complained to me again. TSK. Big sister. I really can't stand this job anymore. Your younger sister is crying so miserably. I heard that her whole body is rotten. Even through the gate. You can smell the rotten smell. Although what your parents said is right. But even if it can't be cured, at least some humanitarian care should be given. Humanitarian care? My parents did do it. They sent messages about Jessie's illness in the family group and class group. Immediately, relatives, friends, and Jessie's teachers and classmates came to visit. Jessie is usually considered a well-behaved, obedient, and excellent child in the eyes of these people. Now that she has become like this, everyone feels distressed and regrets. When visiting a patient, condolences are of course indispensable. My parents received 40 to 50,000 yuan just in condolences. This money all went into their pockets, and was used as the upbringing fee for Yao Ziyu in the future. My mom did call me and asked me not to come back for now. Snowy, your dad and I have discussed it. Your work is still important. Your younger sister is being taken care of by me and your dad. You can go to work at ease. But, now I am pregnant with your younger brother. Usually, there are more and more places to spend money on prenatal examinations and buying nutritional products. You must remember to send me more money every month. What else can I say? I agreed one by one on the surface. After hanging up the phone, I picked out some of the materials sent to me by the delivery guy these days, edited them into a video, and then sent it to Jessie. I don't know what her reaction will be when she sees the conversations between her parents during this period that determine her life and death. 12. Soon I knew. Jessie is really a ruthless person. In my previous life, when my mom hit me, she added fuel to the fire. This time, she dragged her two hands that were almost only bones. When her parents were both asleep, she went to the kitchen and bit open the gas valve with her mouth. In the middle of the night, my mom was sleeping drowsily and wanted to drink water. My dad immediately went to the kitchen to pour water for my mom. The moment the living room light was turned on, my house exploded. My dad was blown to pieces on the spot. When the fire was extinguished by the firemen, only part of his charred remains were found. Jessie was in the second bedroom, although it was farther from the kitchen, because she was already terminally ill. This time, she suffered burns all over her body. After being sent to the hospital, the doctor announced that the rescue was ineffective and she died. My mom was the least affected in the master bedroom, although it was late at night at that time. When the neighbors heard the explosion, they quickly called the police. The firefighters responded quickly and arrived at our house to start extinguishing the fire in 5 minutes. Originally, if my mom waited in the bedroom for a while, she could wait for rescue. But for some reason, she seemed to have lost her mind. Covering her stomach, she rushed out. When she came to the living room, she just caught up with the secondary explosion of the gas tank. She was directly blown away. It has to be said that she was lucky. She had 80 burns all over her body but still had a life. Her 2 arms were directly burned into charcoal because they were protecting her stomach. Under such a fierce fire, only her stomach was not burned all over her body. Now she is more than 3 months pregnant. The doctor advises her to have an abortion. Now she can't speak and can only blink wildly to indicate refusal. I looked at my mom with tears in my eyes and said to the doctor, "My mom means to keep the child. Otherwise, she won't live either. Doctor, I beg you. My mom can't live without this child." When my mom heard me fully state her meaning, she was very pleased. The doctor had no choice but to give my mom conservative treatment and didn't even dare to use too much painkillers. Now our whole family is either dead or injured. As early as the day of the incident, the police contacted me and asked me to come back and clean up the mess. Just right. I can also see their fates with my own eyes. My mom wailed all night long just like Jessie, until her voice became hoarse. She stopped crying out in pain. Instead, a ho-ho sound came from her throat. When she was 6 months pregnant, my mom really couldn't endure it anymore. In these 3 months, she shed several layers of skin all over her body. Every time the doctor came to examine her, they had to tear off her gauze forcefully, taking off a layer of burned flesh and blood. She always fainted from the pain, and then woke up again due to the pain. This cycle repeated. As soon as 6 months arrived, the doctor did a 4-dimensional examination on the fetus. Without checking, we wouldn't know. Once checked, even the doctor was shocked. My mom did give birth to a deformed baby, with 3 hands and 4 legs. There were also problems such as cleft lip and palate and cerebral malformation. It was simply like giving birth to an alien. In the evening, I tearfully told my mom this fact, afraid that my mom wouldn't believe me. I also took out the 4-dimensional photos taken by the doctor and placed them one by one in front of my mom's eyes, so that she could see them carefully. My mom shook her head frantically, so I held her face and made her look. This is the son you protected with your life. A monster. Under the stimulation, my mom actually broke her amniotic fluid. That night, she gave birth to a male fetus. Unfortunately, due to underdevelopment and premature birth, he only cried twice and then lost his breath. And my mom, after seeing her beloved son in that state, couldn't get off the delivery bed either. Epilogue. After taking care of my mom's affairs after her death, I scattered the ashes of their family of 4 into the sea. This also fulfilled my parents' wish to be reunited with their son. Later, I had no distractions and wholeheartedly devoted myself to work. Soon I got a promotion and a raise and became an independent woman in the eyes of my colleagues. This time, I changed my own ending. Finally ushered in a new life. The end.